Tahrir Square, but I mean, if you look at Tahrir Square, there are also more people pouring into Tahrir Square. There are more tents that have been set up, a sign that people are willing to spend days here until the situation is solved. Now, obviously, the call from Tahrir Square, which seems now at the moment seriously like a town disconnected from the rest of Cairo, the call is for President Mubarak to step down. There's no sign of that yet. Neither is any sign that he's actually preparing to step down. And I think once Egyptians see those signs, which is like signing presidential decrees about changing these articles in the Constitution, especially the articles that have to do with presidential elections, or maybe also a presidential decree that would abolish the emergency law, when there's some tangible sign that this revolution is actually reaching something, you might have a bit of a shift of the position here on the square. But at the moment, all they're seeing is talks and promises and pledges, but none of that has turned into concrete acts. And I think that is what they're waiting for at the moment, to begin to believe that what the government is saying is actually true.
So those protests continue for the moment. Hoda, thank you very much indeed for that. Hoda Hamid in Cairo there. Now, emergency warnings have been issued for areas of Western Australia as bushfires expand. Dozens of homes have already burned down and more houses are under threat as the blaze engulfs the outskirts of Perth. Andrew Thomas reports from Sydney.
After widespread floods and a tropical cyclone, the latest natural disaster to hit Australia, bushfires. Southeast of the West Australian capital Perth, a spark from industrial equipment lit bone-dry grass. A second fire developing to the north of the city.
And whilst Victoria battles floodwaters, over in the west, people are battling bushfires. And we've seen the loss of homes. People who have been through the devastation of knowing that all of their possessions are gone, many of them not able to take things with them that are precious to them and which are now lost.
Gusty winds fanned the flames, houses in their path destroyed, and residents urged to abandon property.
All of a sudden the police just came along and said, please move along now, like the fire has jumped with the wind, and everyone had to leave.
During daylight, the fire is being fought from the air, as well as from land. But it's been overnight, when helicopters can't fly, that the flames have been at their most destructive.
It's horrendous conditions. We knew it was going to be difficult to control these sort of fires overnight. We don't have the aerial support, but the ground crews get in there and do their best to protect properties and hold it.
While winds remain strong, the flames have the upper hand, homeowners doing what they can to stop their progress. These fires come 2 years to the day after Black Saturday, the worst bushfires in Australian history that killed over 150 people. So far, property the main victim this time around. Andrew Thomas, Al Jazeera, Sydney.
Well, senior weatherman Everton Fox is with me now. I mean, Australia, poor Australia. It's had the floods on the one hand and the wildfires on the other. And these wildfires are really bad. Are they going to continue for the foreseeable?
Well, I think we should see the winds slowly easing down over the next couple of days, Shuli. It is really a case of, from one extreme to the other, as we were saying there, too wet or too dry. And actually, the strength of those winds is kind of tied up with a combination of both. We've got those strong winds which have fed their way in from the remains of our tropical cyclone Yassi. As that's made its way across northern parts of Australia, we have got it making its way further westwards over the next couple of days. But at the same time, we've got an area of high pressure down towards the south of Australia, and where those two have combined, that strengthened the winds. The high will weaken over the next couple of days, but the rain is going to stay away from Perth.
Over the north of Beijing, as the visibility drops, you'll still see things with perfect clarity.
Well, we can see from our satellite picture our thick area of cloud across northernmost parts of Australia, but further south, where we need the rain, very little in the way of any cloud and rain showing up here. Now, just take a look at our wind flow chart. Here's our area of high pressure across southern parts of Australia, just around the Great Australian Bight. Here's our area of low pressure, where those two squeeze together. They act kind of like cogs in a wheel. The two interact. That has strengthened those winds down across that southwestern corner of Australia. Over the next day or so, that area of high pressure will make its way further eastward. So those winds will start to ease. But as I said, I'm afraid there's still no sign of any rain to the east and north of Perth, where we do have those wildfires in place. So little improvement to come here, but at least the winds will gradually ease. Heavy rain does continue to be a problem further north into Sri Lanka. It does stay very wet here. Flooding will continue to be a problem then, but for much of India, here it stays dry and indeed it stays sunny. Plenty of sunshine too across northern Africa. A chance of a few showers just coming into northern areas of Libya. Temperatures in Cairo getting up to around 20 degrees with a northerly wind setting in. On the other side of the Atlantic, where we have northerly winds which have made it bitterly cold across much of the United States. Snow, that was around Texas, Oklahoma. That's making its way further eastwards. Very unsettled down into that southeastern corner. Big change in temperatures to come for Denver. 7 Celsius there on Monday. We're looking at temperatures falling back to -12, a top temperature of -12 as we go on into Tuesday. So plenty of snow making its way in across the Rockies. That will make its way down towards the southern plains over the next day or so. Some improvement for southern parts. Dallas at around 11 degrees. It's dry, fine and sunny for now. Over towards eastern seaboard.
Qatar Airways, world's 5-star airline.
Online company AOL is reportedly buying news website Huffington Post for $315 million. It'll be the company's largest acquisition since it separated from Time Warner in 2009. Huffington Post co-founder Arianna Huffington will take control of all of AOL's editorial content. She'll become president and editor-in-chief of the newly created Huffington Post Media Group. The news website began as a liberal blog in 2005 and now draws some 25 million visitors every month. The final results from Sudan's referendum on secession for the South are due to be announced on Monday. The nation's global diaspora voted in the poll. Around 3,500 live in the U.S. county of San Diego in California, home to the country's third largest Sudanese community. Rob Reynolds has been asking them about their hopes for the future.
When Matthew Riek walks the streets of San Diego, he sometimes thinks of the long journey he endured as one of South Sudan's lost boys, orphans wandering through a war-ravaged wilderness.
We walked day and night. We were afraid of being discovered by the enemy and killed. And on the way, we did have some of us that were eaten by wild animals.
Matthew is one of about 3,500 South Sudanese in San Diego, part of a worldwide diaspora. In January, many in the community cast their votes in the independence referendum. Chul Tut runs San Diego's South Sudanese Community Center.
I was born in the war and grew up in the war, and now is the time to vote. That means it's going to be my last bullet for that war.
Refugees who came to the U.S. from South Sudan did not have an easy time. When Agnes Olwar arrived 17 years ago, America was far from what she had imagined.
When I got there, it was one-bedroom apartment with 5 or 6 guys, roommates, then plus me and 2 younger kids in one-bedroom apartment. And you can imagine how can we live like this. You know, there is a lot of drug dealers going around. There is a lot of shooting going around. So I tell my husband, I wish I'd go back, live in refugee camp other than, because I was scared all the time.
Now she's the proud owner of her own hairdressing business with a child in college. But South Sudan beckons. Even though they've spent years making their lives here in the United States, many South Sudanese say they're eager to return to their homeland and help build a new country.
When the peace comes, all those people will be going back to Sudan, and they will come with a skill, whatever the skill they have, to bring that nation. That will build up the country. I have to go back and do whatever I can for those people who need the skill.
Matthew Riek, who now has a master's degree in public administration, wants to work for the new government.
One could be thought of as crazy if you want to go back there. But for me, you know, having gotten to where I am today, especially with the education that I've gotten, I feel like, you know, I would do a disservice to my country where I was born, you know, if I don't go there and do something.
Agnes Olwar, too, is ready to leave the relative comfort of life in California for something deeper and more meaningful.
I really want to go back and help out. And also we have like a lot of family that has been scattered all over the world. I wish one day we can just go back and be as family one time. We can have a place we can call home.
Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, San Diego, California.
Yeah, with Al Jazeera still to come on the programme. Caught in the crossfire, villagers from a disputed border region flee as Thai and Cambodian forces clash for a fourth day. And thousands of riot police patrol Bangladesh as the country